So we just got in the MasterTop Bimini top plus the Windstopper on the back here. And I want to just go over some basics. This is available online, so I'm not going to flip through it or anything else. We did have a couple variances of how we decided to install it, just because some of this is kind of hard to see, some of the pictures. I would love it if MasterTop did a video, maybe make it a little bit easier. But I will say their instructions are a lot better than a lot of the stuff that does come out there. First thing I wanted to point out, this is supposed to be the Twill top. It's supposed to be basically very close to the factory Jeep. As you can tell, the difference between the two, there is a slight difference. This is very close to material, but it is not the same. Obviously, this is the best top material. This is MasterTop, so there is going to be some variance because of that. I've kind of very quickly put it in and wanted you guys to be able to see it. I know there's been a couple people that wanted to see that review. All in all, I am impressed. We do run this spiderweb shades up on top underneath it. So there are a couple of variances that we're doing just because of that. As you see, it comes across. This part here is going to wrap around down to this part here, which is where we put that in. Originally, the instructions, it actually was supposed to come down, around, and back up to here. We decided not to do that just for how we plan to use this. Our idea is, because we do have the spider web shade, is we'll end up rolling this up all the way to the front and leaving it on nice days. But then if we get caught in any weather where we do need it for travel purpose, we can roll it back out. We also do carry one of the covers for when we get caught in the rain, that it would completely cover while parked, the sides and everything. So this is just one more way for us to get out of the weather if it becomes something bad or a long trip. So as you can tell, these are strapping down and around each one of these pillars. They are very well placed. It does fit with the spiderweb shades. I can't talk about any other, of the tops, like the Jeep Top USA and some of the other aftermarket ones, just because I don't have it, so I don't know. This one here is wrapping around on the inside. You've got another one holding it down here, here, and here. And then this actually wraps around this front part. And this ends up kind of tucking in here to help with that water. And the reason we got this particularly is because this comes all the way to the edge. So any rain that we get is going to roll down the edge. Whereas with the mesh tops here, a lot of them cut to the inner side and would allow water to come down. We don't have doors on 90% of the year. They sit on the cart over there in that corner. We do have the half top door, or the best top half doors. So we will run with those. We're not worried about getting wet. That's not what we're trying to avoid. We're just trying to prevent cold and a lot of water getting on us. We're not worried about getting a little bit, as you see in some of the other videos. Up here on the top, there are 3 spots that attach to the top of the sound bar to keep this from coming too far up. Because we have that spiderweb shade on, we were not able to put the 2 on the outer edges, but we did do the center one. That was still available. And that's for the middle one. There should be 2 more. The other location is going to be right here, which on the soundbar. We've got the spiderweb shade. So because of that, we don't have holes there, so we're not going to worry about that. But we're going to do just the middle one and hope that holds it down. So the next thing I'm going to do is take this out for a spin and see how it does. My concern I have is I think this is going to end up separating a little bit. It does pull pretty tight. It holds together, but I do see that being one of the issues. And I might be able to try to figure out some workarounds, hopefully, before I post this, if that does. This is nice and tight, though, coming out. I am concerned about a little bit of wind flap to see if that comes out. We'll see. And one of the things I did forget to mention, I kind of mentioned it but didn't go into detail. My biggest complaint I can see already is these straps. There are a lot of them. They hang down. They're kind of in the way, so we're going to have to figure out a way to maybe tuck these things back up in. Maybe doing that, kind of sliding it in, something to get them up, because there's a lot of them. Earlier I did have this one tucked behind, and then I kind of rolled it back over. So that does help take care of that one, but then you've still got this. So we're gonna have to figure out how that tucks in, how much wind's catching it. And then the other issue we do have, if we take this back one off, this part here is connected to this underside. So this one's going to want to flap, which will probably be able to roll into the bungee strap from the mesh top. But that's all going to be some stuff that you're going to figure out what works best for you and how permanent of an option this is for you and what you're trying to do. Again, we went with this one. I actually really liked the BestTop version that came across, and it used the factory soft top and had the hard cable in it, but it did not have the rear window, which we really wanted. And the way that that one mounted up here was like the old Jeep Wrangler TJ style, where it actually bolted in place. And it was, looking at the instructions, it was more work than what my wife wants to do on a day-to-day basis for removing or adding it. This is really simple, just to remove a couple straps, roll it forward. That's why we went this route versus the BestTop one. All right, so from the inside, these are the straps that are pushed down in between the window and the frame on the front. We're now got to run these through this plastic out right here. As you can tell, it's kind of hard with the lighting to see, but I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver to pull that out. And then they give you these little pieces that slide over the little ball, and then this will tighten down like that to hold it in place. These middle straps aren't exactly long enough to make it all the way over. I believe they were saying they were supposed to come up in this area here. There are some short and longer ones. Again, this is where their instructions are kind of hard. I'm pretty sure that just these front two being held down on the farther sides are going to be more than enough, since you've got this on the far side holding it down. You'll have the pressure of this one here. I don't think these ones are actually going to be needed. So we'll try it without. That's going to be my solution. I'm just going to kind of tuck them back up in here and see if that works. If it doesn't, then I'll come back and try to figure it out. All right, so as before, I was saying it does come through here. So they did run it where it comes up and ties on here, which is nice for that middle strap. But the one thing I have noticed is this is now taking the place, so that can't close all the way. See, I will show you the difference there. So that's your difference. So to me, that is not a solution. That's not proper. BestTop, you really should have thought this one out a little better. I understand what you're trying to do, but there needs to be a better solution than this. Okay, and about the last comment, it's not BestTop, this is MasterTop, so don't blame BestTop for this one. So the best thing I've been able to find to get these to secure down is I have run that strap up and through the backside underneath here, and I'm actually going to run it across the opposite side to those little tabs. Now, here's the one bad thing. For those of you that bought a soft top, I don't believe you're going to have these, because these come with the hard top. So that's going to be one issue you might run into, but that is a good way to secure it. And all you gotta do for that, just pull down on this part here, just reach your fingers up inside and just kind of give it a good pull. It will come down. It's a little bit of a pain, but I've done it before. And sadly, when I went to go put this back up, those, the way they crossed, there were two of the holding pins right here dead center that, of course, it covered. So can't use that. I had to undo that. I tried running them straight up to it. You can't get them tight. You might be able to finagle it in a way. For me, I'm just going to go back to the original plan of not using those middle two because I want my visors to be flush, and as long as they're not doing that. So we're going to try that. If not, I might come in and drop this and burn some holes inside the little strap parts, and I'll make it permanent attachments up underneath these to kind of hold that in place or something. I'm going to figure out how much I like the top first and before I do any type of modification. Alright, so this goes on to the next issue. I did not catch this on the first part, but when you go to put your seat up, I'm going to kind of try to put that Velcro back together. What they did not do is when you push your headrest, it rips the Velcro. And if you tell from the back side, you can see where it's pushing on it. That's without the headrest, that's with it. So I think that's going to be a little bit of an issue. They probably should have done a zipper up here to prevent that. I'm going to try to adjust a little bit more. I mean, all in all, it's still going to do well for what we particularly do. We will not run this back window, I'm going to say 99% of the time. This is really for if we take a long trip. We've got one coming up, going up to the mountains. It's a 3 to 3.5 hour trip. And sometimes if it rains or anything like that on the way, or you have some kids in the back seat, they don't like that heavy wind pushing on them. That's where this is supposed to come in play, is that This can go up, it can prevent that wind from hitting them on that long trip up. But once you get up there, this is gonna be pulled off. And then like I said, this top here is gonna get rolled up to the front. How's that? So let's go take it for a drive and let's see how it holds up as it is. Still not super impressed with all these straps, the way they're just hanging off, you know, a foot out. I'm gonna have to figure out something out for that. I'm just not sure what yet. All right, so as you can tell, by just having the seat heads up, you've already got those two spots that are gonna allow wind and air and water to come back in, even dust. So that is kind of disappointing on that part. It should have been a better finish. Like I said, a zipper probably up there will work better, and that might be something to try to do in the future. All these straps hanging down are a little bit annoying, but like I said, we'll either trim those up or figure out a different way to tighten them down. Let's go outside here. After 70 miles an hour for less than 2 minutes. Alright, so as you can tell, what we're going to do most of the time is we'll have this rolled up, and we are going to talk about possibly adding on a zipper into this area to zip to this to hold it in a little bit better, as you saw with those driving issues. But we'll end up rolling this up. As you can tell, it is easier with two people, but we will roll this. You got to undo this part right here. And it does have a tight roll to the end here. At that point there, we can go ahead and strap this down and leave it forward, but when needed for any type of weather on that trip, we can put it back. We do leave this Jeep in the garage, so for us this is more of a trip safety protocol than it is actually being used day to day. Day to day we do like to have the spiderweb shade just for the mesh top. All right, so we've got it out in the sun here. Got a little bit of video now with it being under the road. As you can tell, we've got those straps kind of tucked up. They are working. They've got the one up here. The second one we've actually just got up underneath the plastic here and up in between. I'm probably going to come back and cut down some of these strap lengths just because they hang down so far. If you were to cut them, they're still enough to kind of get through and pull it tight. We might try to wrap them in. I'll let my wife worry about that a little bit more. As you can tell, I do have one of the straps up here, and that's for when we roll this top all the way to the front, we can kind of wrap it around and tie it off. I'm still going to play with it a little bit. It is a good seal. I will say they did a great job on their fit as far as how it attaches. This front spot has that little plastic rail to kind of prevent it from flapping too much. It's got a good, I'm going to say, like curves and finish around everything. My biggest complaint at this point is just these big straps. I know the Mopar version used these holes, which one of the problems with that became if you wanted to run any other type of top or accessories that did use those, it became an issue with that. So I can't complain too much. The back way they got this strap down, I think we did the straps a little bit different than what MasterTop had designed. But one of the big things that we did come into play is one of the other individuals also noticed this was the way this is. As you can see, this is hitting on it, and as soon as you go to try to put your cover up, it pokes and it pulls the hole there. So this to me is not really acceptable. MasterTop probably needs to redesign this, rethink about it. It's almost like they never even tested it in the field. I think one of the other guys and me were talking, and we're probably going to end up maybe doing a zipper from right here to there, so this actually zips shut. This isn't as a big deal for us in particular. We use this. Top is going to be more for our long distance trips, when we go like off-road or we're going out of town and we are worried about weather that's going to be coming in. If we got weather coming in, obviously we are worried and would like to have some protection for it. And day-to-day lifestyle is not a big deal. We leave the doors off, top off anyways, and it parks in the garage, so a lot of that's not a concern. This is nice how it rolls over the edge, so any rain that does come in, you know, it is going to roll off the edge. Good on that part. Overall, I am happy with it. I'd say it's probably a little bit pricey for having this issue back here. That, to me, for the price they're charging, that should have been worked out a lot better. The install is pretty simple. The only big thing that we did differently, I think, is we ended up hooking this to this spot here, and I think it was actually pulling to use one of these top spots. I didn't like the way it pulled on this back window, which might be why this pulls a little bit, but the other way, this was loose back here and it didn't really work. We do probably plan to use just this back window if we were to get caught in some mild rain where we just have the water that's trying to come back in on the passengers, and that would protect it. We probably wouldn't even put the top up at that point, because as long as you're moving, you're not really getting it inside, especially with having that spider web anyways. But this will help on some of those trips that you do get a little bit worse weather, or you get that nighttime dew that sets down and gets the vehicle all wet. This is a way for us to really just leave the hard top and soft top off at all times and still have a solution to cover up on top of the rain gears that we have. That being said, if you do a lot of off-grid or remote stuff where you don't want your doors on top and you know it's gonna be parked when it rains, if you get yourself one of the rain gear covers, it actually comes down up over the front windshield and comes down and protects all the inner area, and we've used that plenty of times. It's great, but you can't be moving down the road with it, so we needed something that would be roadworthy and legal so we could actually see. So I'm not sure what the final ideas for these are to get that, but we'll figure something out.